Or something, I don't know. Inside the garden, by the thingy?
Yeah, the pavilion.
Yeah.
All right.
Picnic benches.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you want to do a roll call? Sobe?
Roll call?
Mute. Let's start with that. Okay. Lori,
Use hand signals.
I'm here.
Jeff Flynn, Dave,
Here.
Nancy,
Here.
Craig,
Here.
Evelyn,
Hiding over here.
Hayden, Chris,
Here.
Julia, and Lisa Sobey. I'm here. And we also have Lisa Holber. Is there anyone else in the room, Lori?
Nope, just the dog.
Okay. Okay. All present and accounted for.
All right. So doing our meeting tonight, so I'm going to try to move along. I'm going to guess there's no public comment. Good.
Well, if somebody said something to me and it's not on the agenda, should I bring that up as public comment? Just one of the people in the neighborhood is really concerned that we don't have a place plan yet, and I explained to her that, you know, whatever plan, if it's put forward in time to vote on it in August, there would be action after that, but if there is no plan.
All right, we're going to talk about that.
Oh, okay. I saw it had an asterisk on the agenda, so I didn't know if it was being talked about.
Yeah, well, anyway, sorry, that's my mother's sugar that's beeping like that. Okay, so I think I just shut it off.
Don't shut mom's sugar off.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm not there. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on the BNL. I'm on the member correspondence now. So BNL roads and the valve keys, the new keys are, well, obviously the pipe went 3 feet deeper. So you know, anybody that's on Lakeshore is going to need a new valve key to turn their valve on. Which I wish they had communicated that earlier. They did not. But Joe from the water company did bring 2 keys, and they're at the pavilion, and they have blue spray on them. But I told him, I said, you know, not that anybody's like, you know, dishonest or anything, but sometimes you bring it home and you turn your water on and you forget to bring it back. I said, so it'd be nice if you were able to offer the community to purchase a new key or something of the sort. I really haven't gotten an answer yet, but I do know that somebody called me, Brian Smith called me, and I think he said he went to Tractor Supply or Home Depot or one of those, and he bought one. He goes, but Lori, I think I bought the last one. So it's hard to find, but I am kind of working with Joe to see if he can come up with new keys for people. I know somebody modified their key. I don't know how you can modify it and make it 3 feet longer, but I don't really. I
Do
don't
you know what the cost of the keys are? About no.
And I don't, you know, I know they did all the other roads. I don't know if those people needed new keys or not. I really don't know. That was the first I was hearing of it. So
Lori, when you say pavilion, do you mean? I thought they were outside at the basketball court.
yeah, they're laying in the
Yeah.
parking lot
Yeah, the
somewhere
parking lot.
down
Yeah, they're not
there.
at the pavilion, just if anyone's listening.
Yeah, they're like on
Actually, yeah.
I think he sent me a picture of them laying on the against the telephone pole
Between the
by the
basketball court
library,
and
like the little library, right?
I think it's more by the basketball court.
Yeah, I
That-
didn't see him.
Yeah, it's by the basketball court, that end.
So hopefully members are using them and returning them so that other members can.
There
Have
was
you?
2, you said?
Yeah, there were
There's a
two.
picture, we have a picture of it.
But he also,
It might have been down there. I didn't go down the other end.
yeah, he also said that he was going to be here all week. So I don't know.
They
Um,
were opening for people if they were here this week. they would turn the water on.
Yeah, yeah. But still, if people want to buy
And hopefully the
keys.
people wouldn't leave anything open.
And actually, somebody told me, Gary Cohen, he said he got to his cottage and his was turned on. He goes, thank God I had it turned off in the basement. Yeah,
Mhm.
so, I am gonna write back to Joe with a few things, but, so, and B&L also said that their paving restoration should take a week, 2 weeks max, and they're out of here. They'll be back in August to do that resurfacing, probably towards the end of August, in case there's somebody that forgot to hook up or, that they're not tearing up the roads again. And then I had another correspondence, from somebody concerned about pontoon boats, and the lagoon. And apparently somebody put a pontoon boat, and I have not been down there, to look. Apparently somebody put a pontoon boat, like right at the entrance of the lagoon. Pontoon boats have been an issue for us, for as long as I've been here. I'm mentioning the correspondence now, but it's something we should probably all think about, because if it's going to start creating safety issues, which it already did a little bit, but we should do something. And I know we toss it around all the time and we never come up with anything that works. I don't know if we put it out to the community. I don't know, but
I believe there's also one blocking the kayak loading area.
I think I heard
At
that.
Second
too.
Beach.
If it moves a little, it does, yeah.
So
I don't know where the
So
sign
do we
is.
need to go down and find out whose boats they are and contact them and move them?
Good luck.
I think we need to come up with something that's going to work, because I think every year we get more and more pontoon boats. And I don't know how to manage that. I think,
Well, they're not allowed to put a boat where it's not supposed to be. We didn't have a pylon or a mooring at the entry or at the cove. So that boat should not be there. That was not a designated spot.
so
It's a first come, first served for designated spots.
we'll have to go down and look. And then,
It's a new boat. It's a brand new boat.
Brand new.
Well, we're gonna have to notify the
Yeah,
person
yeah.
and it's gonna have to get
It's a
moved.
brand new boat. It's huge.
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
Big pontoon boat.
there's a blue cover on it.
yeah, it's new.
The cover wasn't on it when I was there, and they took off on it. I was gonna say something to them, but I think you're right. I think we don't really have a policy other than first come, first serve. And
We do have a policy
do have-
that you cannot moor them where it's not designated.
Right.
And that
but
was
not every spot is really designated the way that it should be.
well, there was nothing to tie up to there. There was no,
No,
so that's
I'm
not
just saying, there's
designated.
maybe a new committee that needs to be.
I have
formed.
I have a hand raised in case you can't see it. So just call on me whenever. Because I have a thought.
Thanks, Craig.
I mean, are we gonna, do we want to problem solve this now, or do we want, this is new business and come back to it?
Yes.
Because I mean, I have a couple ideas on how
Oh.
to solve this.
Okay, so let's put it under new business and come back to it.
Yeah.
Right, yep, did you want to wait till we do it on new business?
Totally fine with me.
Huh?
Yeah, that's fine. I had a suggestion which can wait until new business. So yeah.
Okay.
And the community has given suggestions in those Facebook websites a lot, off and on over the years.
And they suggest, never mind. Okay, I digress. Okay, so, that's it for, and then also, there have been, and I'm, there has been correspondence on B&L's, lack of safety, which I am going to, address with Joe and, Charette from the water company, the safety people, Michelle Velez, and also B&L. And, their flaggers, are not appropriate still. It's really been a problem. So that was the last correspondence. I, I'm gonna move into the officer's report. Um, I was thinking about this today while I was cleaning my house before you guys came over. I wanted to say thank you to everybody because I think this board has fabulous, debate. We have respect for each other. We communicate well. We come up with good ideas. We're active. We get things done. It's a great board. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody. I know we don't get thank yous enough. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Great leadership.
We try, I mean, we really, we have respect for each other, and I think that's great. So I just wanted to give a brief update on the upcoming dam. Julia and I had a meeting with Tim, and things are moving along. We still have not gotten the permit from Deep, but all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. We're just waiting for the signature. So I just want to hit a couple of bullets, and then if anybody wants to have more questions or talk more about it, we're going to move that into new business as well because it's not on the agenda. So what we did talk about, and over the last couple of years, Tim is trying to, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say cram a vote into an August meeting, and he's trying to make that work with getting contractors, getting the permit done, and all of these time constraints. So while the three of us talked, Julia, myself, and Tim, we agreed that there should be a referendum as opposed to trying to cram it into an August meeting, which means everybody will get a mailing, everybody will get a vote, and it'll be done with the proper information obtained, and it won't be a rushed thing for the dam committee and the dam people. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and I think we all talked about this, about it being a flat rate fee for across the board. Did someone just join, Lisa?
I'm trying
I
to
got
join.
her.
Oh. So flat rate fee, and that will include approximately 420 homes on this side, including people that are lots owners. And I don't think we have a lot of those anymore. I think there's like 6-ish, and 90 homes on the East Shore. So what we are going to try to do is have the East Shore contribute what each of our homes contribute here. That is the objective. That is optimistic. But in our discussion, we felt that was fair. So things are moving along. We also talked about, Dave and I talked a little while ago. I think you all know that Dave's been brought into the fold of the dam. Thank you, Dave. And he is working with the contractors and the bidding, and John Gilmore and Tim Pelton. So those things are moving along, picking out contractors. But so Dave and I talked, and we want to make sure that information gets out there to people, and so we were kicking around ideas of maybe how to get information out. And one of them was maybe we'll have a standard block in the newsletter that says dam update. We're also pushing, in addition, we're pushing for the July town meeting. We're going to advertise it well, and hopefully it's well attended, for the community to come to the town meeting that we have in July. That's usually like to discuss the budget or whatever else anybody wants to discuss, but we're going to combine that with a dam meeting, and we're going to advertise that well. We don't want to clog up the August meeting with with the dam. So we'll give the members an opportunity to ask questions and talk about the financials that we may know by then. So we're going to put that little update in the newsletter, and every week, and it'll say when that meeting is, and we'll continually keep everybody updated on what's happening with the dam.
Can I ask a question? Or is this this is not the time? Just a quick question on the referendum. Like, if the community does not vote to approve the referendum, what happens?
I think then we have to go back to the drawing board. I mean, it's like when a budget doesn't pass. We got to find out what it is. Why didn't it pass? Why are you turning the referendum down? But we could talk about that more in new business.
Okay.
But that's a fabulous question, Dave. I think that was it for talking points. Did I miss anything?
In your president's report, right? That was what you're talking about in the president's report.
Right. Yep. Okay. So we can come back to that in new business if there's any more questions. But we really want the community to know that it's on its way and it's happening. And it was 3 or 4 years ago when this first came about, and it lost a little steam in the permit process, but everybody's still been working really hard behind the scenes. And I think
the interest from the community is going to be on, if this does go through, what that flat rate will be, and will it be the same for seasonal as it is for, so all those questions are going to come up.
yes. Yep. And so we'll answer all of those, Lisa. And that's the first thing I said. How much? That's the bottom line. Everyone wants to know how much.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that a little bit more in new business.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention the budget committee. We have a full committee. We have a quorum. However, we would like to get one more member. So if anybody knows anybody with any kind of financial, we always like to have, it worked out well having one extra, because if someone couldn't make it, you still had a quorum. So if anybody knows anybody, I am going to put an email blast out. And the nominating committee, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but they are full. There's 3 members. So we're ready to go on that. And an article will go in the news, the spring packet. And that's all I got. So I'll move on to financial reports. Tax collector, Lynn Chrissy sent everybody an email. The first sentence is what matters to everybody, because the next one, it just negated everything we just talked about. So the second part of her email, but the first part was that we are fully collected this year. Fines, everything, we're fully collected. And I think that was in the last meeting too, that we were fully collected. So we'll move on to Lisa Hober, treasurer. Lisa, do you have a report for us?
Is my mic live?
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, my report is that the reports are on the drive.
Oh, good. All right, because now I'm gonna complicate your report a little.
Well, snap.
Look at all my pen. All right, so we have some expenditures coming up. So I went through the BVA, and there are overages in certain areas, and I came up with approximately $33,000. And if anybody wants to see how I came up with that, Julia's
Yeah,
here when yeah. So what I want to talk about is, we did talk about purchasing the kiosks, and I said I wanted to look and see if we had the funding to do that. And they're about $2,100. And Julia and I did go out and look at them, and First Beach was,
It's 1,500, remember? You had the wrong size.
oh, I did for the
Yes.
second one.
Yeah, it's 1,500.
15, okay. So it's still whatever. We want to get a couple more pop-ups for events. Julia, in her walkways, we believe one of them is going to be about $3,500. And that's the one on
33 Ridgewood.
33 Ridgewood. And then we figured 2,000 for Little Beach, I think, right?
To repair the erosion down here.
On Little Beach.
Yeah.
And then Second Beach has an oak tree for $1,500. And so, I mean, really, I get, so we'll, oh, and then, I had a public safety meeting. Dave Burton, who is the Groton Chief of Police, and John Mays, who, he's a retired, New York policeman, I call them our A team. They're our public safety, group. And I did talk to them, and we'll talk about that more in public safety. I want to talk about the camera situation. So that's dollars also. So I guess what I'm saying to everybody is I just wanted to kind of get a vote on, is everybody okay with us reallocating funding for these things that, I mean, we agreed on the kiosks and a couple other things, but we want to reallocate and or spend these fundings. And I will talk about the camera more in public safety, because it's a cost as well. But I think we have the money. I think we're fine with that. And Lisa, you can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but looks like we have it to me.
Well, you know what? In the interest of efficiency, why don't you keep I mean, probably yes. I don't want to put a blanket on it, but if I see your list and compare it to mine, and we both know that May and June are that where we're moving money.
Right.
So I think what you're asking for is the board's approval that we can do that. And I would just add that for the board's warm and fuzzy, we will do that and we will not go over budget, because I won't pay something if we don't have it.
No, we have it. And I did all the contracts and everything too, Lisa. Like we've got it. So yes, I'm asking the board, do you agree to purchase these things that I just mentioned? I know we already did the kiosks, but
Julie, I have a question. Do you know if you ever took the branch down, the north end?
So I can report in that and properties.
Alright.
I just want to be clear about the tree. I'm not advocating, I'm just bringing it to everyone's attention. If we feel that the oak tree at Laurel Lane, Second Beach, it's kind of mostly dead. But if we feel it should come down now, if it's a safety hazard, it's 1,500. I'm bringing that to the board's attention, and the board can decide if they think we should take it down. I'm indifferent. It comes down now, it comes down next year. It was just something I researched because Jim Ventris also brought it to our attention that
that's
it's kind of dead.
Right.
Well,
So-
if we have the money, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just wanting you guys to know I'm not pushing for it's just bringing it to your attention.
Which is what, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's why we're asking.
Yeah.
Can I
So you
make
get
a
approval?
motion that we vote on those items now?
Yes.
So
Motion that we vote on those
I
items.
think you got another.
can I ask a question before we vote? Do we
Oh.
have, so what you rattled off sounds very reasonable. Lori, do you have a total for what that is against the 33,000 that you found?
Hold on. Let me do some mental math.
It's under 5,000.
Yeah.
What you're
Let me do
rattling
some
off.
mental math.
Okay.
5,000 because the walkway was 36 or 35 and Little Beach was 2.
Let's
That's
leave
50.
1,500 for the
Plus
tree, walkway was 30.
Plus 2,000
Oh, she's doing it.
plus 1,500. $8,800.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's what you're looking for. So when I crunch my brain on this later, you're looking at finding 8,800 that you may reallocate from some of the fatter budget lines.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm looking at two. It'll cover it right now. But anyway,
This is the walkway.
33 Richard.
33 Richard, the one that we cleared the trees. or
Yes.
Yes,
something like
yeah,
that, To fix that.
Yeah.
That's a mess.
it is a mess.
We're waiting on it.
It's a
And,
safety
and then
issue.
Little Beach needs
Yeah, absolutely.
Lori, what are the two that will cover it right now? It's hard to understand where all the numbers are coming from if we're not looking at them, I guess.
do you look at the BBA?
I'm looking at it right now, but I'm not sure what you're looking at.
All right, so right off the bat, interest income is $4,775.86 in excess of what was budgeted.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now.
Tax collector receipts were $4,874.80 in excess of what we,
Budgeted. I see what you're saying now. Okay,
you got me now?
I got you now.
Okay. And then I have my chicken scratch, but, if anybody wants to look or see more. Okay, so Chris, did you want to make that motion?
Yeah, so roughly around $8,800 for the walkway, the tree, Little Beach, etc. I'd like to make a motion that we pass this expenditure for the Pula.
Second,
Any more discussion?
Can I just ask another question?
Okay.
So I know for safety that we were thinking of getting signage too.
I gotta do that public safety.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if those dollars would be added
No.
to this. Okay,
$100 over there.
okay, then I third.
Well, can I just chime in then? Because public safety right now, as of March 31st, has a balance of $283.
I know. Okay, so, any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. There's no nays and no abstentions. Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. And then we'll talk about what I learned in public safety and some costs there as well. Okay. Now that Lisa's done with her report. Anything else, Lisa?
Well, would it matter? No.
So, Dave, I don't know if you had
nothing
anything.
to report.
Okay. So we're going down. Okay, now we're on, let me just move my stuff here. Oak tree in my way. Properties.
Okay,
Oh, this, I keep meaning to give you, Dave. I'll talk to you about that later.
properties.
I found that.
Lisa, I'll start first if you want to chime in with anything you have afterwards. Is that all right? So first of all, I'd like to thank Lisa Hober and Linda Abel. They attacked the closet at the pavilion.
Well, she
the
beat me
men's
to it.
closet, and did a beautiful job cleaning it out. And that's why all that stuff was in the pavilion, all the garbage, Lisa can explain. It was horrible. The mice got into stuff. It was disastrous. Think it took them all day. They're crazy. They dedicated an entire day to clean that up. So
Yep.
I think Lisa, we're going to have to do a better job on the after carnival, making sure that the people are putting stuff back in that we don't put any popcorn back. We don't put any things, and everything is sealed up properly so we don't have this mouse problem.
Popcorn might be movie night
Okay, well,
and not Lisa.
okay, well,
It's both, yeah.
so I mean, who's ever running those events, I think we all have to work to really make sure that that's policed. But anyway, so thank you, Lisa Over. Thank you, Linda Abel. We have 2 beach rakers. Yay. Young men.
You want to explain these?
Oh, you can. Well, we have 2 beach rakers, and Lori will explain the passes, but there are 2 young men. They're in 7th, 8th grade. They're under 16 and they need some money for the summer. So one is Griffin and one is not Riker. I want to say Riker, Ryder. So we're excited to bring them on board.
For first and third. Right?
For first and third, and we have Dave Edgington still for second.
Right. So these,
Awesome.
these 2 young men are not driving and their parents are going to drive them. So what I did was asked Carolyn to give us 2 Board of Governor dealer plates, if you will. So they say Board of Governor and they say properties on them. And these will be for the 2 parents of the kids.
They live here?
No, they live on the East Shore.
Oh,
But you
Yeah.
don't have to be a member to have the job.
Right.
no, I,
No,
no,
but
I
they-
just
yeah, they
wondered why
just-
they needed a special parking pass. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Oh, yes. So yes, that's,
that's why, yeah.
Like they don't get enough?
but we figured since the Board of Governors was, because you know how good Carolyn is with these parking tags. She knows everybody so she's like, I need a name. I go, just put the Board of Governors. So we're responsible for them. So I wanted to make sure that we put our,
Just two in there.
there's only two in there. Yep.
So then the next thing we did, Dave Drew and I installed a split rail fence. You may have seen it on Lake Shore going out across from 251, 257 Lake Shore, to designate the difference between the Pula Reserve property on the lake and the homeowners to the north. So to make sure that people know that that's our reserved area. It's a nice little spot. So we did that. I am still working on the signs. There are two more walkways to be done, but we're close on that, and the signs will have to be ordered as well for designating Pula Walkway or Pula Walk, whatever we're going to do. And I've got to figure out all of that, but that's forthcoming. Lisa will talk about some work parties, and I think that might be.
Well, and I think she also wants to talk about, her and I talked a little bit, so about when we give out the code to the events closet. Segue, Lisa.
Well, I have a question before we go. I'm sorry, Lisa. Are we going to look for a properties manager?
Took the words out of my mouth. That's a yes or no answer.
So we're trying to actually not put, I talked to Gary Peterson about this a little bit, and we're trying not to put so much on one person.
Right.
And so we're trying to spread the wealth a little bit, and it really keeps the community more involved. For instance, courts, right? You guys are going to do the nets, and you guys are going to take care of the courts, which I know is something that properties used to do. Maybe when we do the swim lines, we try to get somebody that, stays on, and somebody that knows how to do it, stays on, next year or passes it along. I've been monitoring the property's email pretty much. Actually, I got somebody who wanted a pavilion reservation. I forwarded it.
Okay.
We're not really,
No, I'm just wondering, last summer we all took turns picking up goose poop. Okay, that seems to be one of the things that needs to get done.
well, so if Evelyn's plan works, there won't be any goose poop.
Excellent.
However, we reserve the right to take that list and have people volunteer again. And why not? We're a
I've
community,
got no
right?
problem with it. But
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
And I know, I mean,
We need volunteers to take the fence down.
so you got the ones I sent you, right?
We have a few. Bring that up later.
So I mean, Dave, I think if somebody came to us and said, hey, I'd like to take on properties. We've put it out there. I think people just don't, and I almost think it's because so much gets, once somebody hears you're a property manager, which it never used to be that, it used to be roads and beaches. And so this property manager thing, everybody thinks is this huge, which it is, it's a lot when all
It's
of
a
that
lot.
is dumped on one person. So I think spreading it out, and then if somebody came forward, then we would consider it, but I think we're making do.
Okay.
What do you think?
It's interesting because I was wondering if we shouldn't be looking for a property management association or a company to totally coordinate the whole. I don't know if it's a yes or no and how everyone else feels, but I see a lot of things that are evolving that need need input, and maybe it should be that way. I don't know. I mean, I know we're a municipality rather than an HOA, but a lot of HOAs have property managers that manage their properties. Yeah. My thought.
Thank you.
We looked into that.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
It's expensive.
Very expensive. Um, I'm not sure I agree with the plan. I think it's good to have a central person that can delegate, get the volunteers. That's worth a shot, I guess. See how it works.
You know, we get 50-50 like opinion on it. So, I mean,
See how it works.
here's the deal. Right now, this is our choice. So, you know, I mean, we could say, you know, we're looking for a properties person.
We
And
haven't done that yet.
well, we did do that before Alex came, and
Yes.
we sought well, pretty much sought Alex out. You know, he was helping and contributing himself, but there's not a lot stepping up to the plate.
Do we want to just monitor the feedback? I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if we have the actual job description, because if it's being kind of shared right now and we can look at the job description, we can kind of see how necessary it is or is not,
Job
based on
descriptions.
those aspects of what a property manager would
It's on
be
the
doing.
drive, I believe.
It's on the drive.
It's on the
Okay.
drive, but
Okay. I mean, there's so much of it that we all have, and that's kind of what we were talking about. Like, we've absorbed, a lot of the committees have absorbed a lot of the chores.
which
So-
is good.
And it's actually good, and we're getting more involvement of people in the community.
And watching the properties email, like I said, I got one email in 2 months. So even if it's on season, when it's in season, if things come in, then we deal with them. At least you know, there's a place where people can email. I do think we've been absorbing.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I would recommend, if we're going to do this approach, even if it's just for this year, well, short, maybe we change our minds towards the end of this year, whatever. I think that if you use it like a committee, there needs to be communication, centralized communication. I heard things through the grapevine and this and that, like, there's a few things that need to be fixed now. And we're not sure, I know you think the pool of BOG is sure who's handling them. So if you have a small group of folks, and have a point person, like a committee.
Right, and that would be fine too.
Yeah, so you don't need to.
It's a matter of getting the volunteers to do it. And
Yeah, so I mean, if we could get one volunteer just to be that point person for communication, I think it would be good.
and essentially it's looking at the email, because anybody and everybody should.
It's a lot more than looking.
Well,
at the
no,
email.
but what I'm saying is, if let's say you're the person, Chris, and you're walking on the street and somebody stops you here and somebody stops you there, and so you need to be saying, send it to my email. So that way everything's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just
and
saying, like, there's probably a half a dozen things that are happening. There's the lawn cutting contracts.
Yep.
There's the boat rack on Second Beach. There's the May 17th plan to put the docks in.
Yep.
There's a bunch of stuff we have to buy. There's a lot of stuff.
Right.
And there's no central communication point. So I think if we're gonna do that, we need to, even if it's a group of us and we have, I know I have all the contacts on my phone for who puts in the docs.
I have
for
a
this.
spreadsheet. I made a spreadsheet of all of that.
Okay, so hopefully you have everybody.
We've really been
Kind of
working on it.
It's kind of been Lisa, me, and Lori have been just ad hocing right now to get things done. And Lisa was going to report on those things, especially.
Yeah, I
the
know.
boat
I'm
rack,
sure she is.
of stuff that needs to be done. But to your point.
But I don't know how many. Okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
just think I think we need to have a mechanism to report out to there's 20 people that I had, with working with Phil and I on putting those docs in, and Craig, and I've gotten folks asking me when we're doing it. So I don't think everybody knows that we're doing
It's
it. on
coming
this
out
side.
it's coming out in a
She's
blast.
got her hand up. Oh, yeah.
It's,
That's all my recommendation is for communication purposes. I think by not having that central person, I think we lost some communication.
Lisa, are you muted?
Thank God I was. No, so I agree with what Chris is saying. There needs to be something central. I agree with what Lori's saying, that there is an email. So if I hit somebody on the streets and they say, hey, blah, 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 I would say, you know what, send it to the properties. That was what Alex was doing to people, saying, just send it to my email so that I have a record of it. I'm thrilled to hear that you have a list of the thing, because I just kind of took that on myself and I reached out to the people that I knew something about. And I think we would have gotten to your list, Chris, except that, I just sent that text 2-3 days ago. So absolutely. I mean, I think that you should, if you want to spearhead that.
Alex gave it to me. I made a spreadsheet. I asked everybody who their names were. All he had was phone numbers.
Yeah, but I think, Lori, what he's saying is that Chris has the list of the people who did it last year who know how to do it, and they may not be on that list. So Alex's list is not all encompassing of Chris's list.
The same, Lisa.
It's the
I gave it
same
to
list.
Alex. I gave the list to Alex.
Okay, well then it's on the list. But
Yeah, it was about 20 people.
I asked everybody their names and I put
I got it from Phil.
yeah. But all I got was phone numbers, like a screenshot of phone numbers. And I texted everybody and I said, who are you? Pretty
Yeah.
much. But
So I have two things. One, I think the original job description for the properties manager was overloaded.
I agree.
Okay. And secondly, I've seen situations where they call them like helping hands committees, where groups such as like Chris is talking about all knew each other and they went down a task list and this one person would say, I'll spearhead this task and grab 2 other people and away
Yes.
you go.
Yes.
Okay. But you do need some sort of coordination.
Yes. So Lisa and I were talking about that for the swim lines when they go in. I said, we'll look for someone to lead that task and maybe they take that on. And then the swim lines coming out, then we look for someone, that'll take on that task and lead that going forward. And then when they don't want to do it anymore, just like somebody being on a committee, when they don't want to be on anymore, they step down.
So maybe we sell this to the community.
And it keeps us more community focused. And takes the pressure off of one person.
Hmm.
No, I
It's
think
worth a
it's good. I
try.
just think we need to figure out the communication piece.
Chris, what do you suggest for communication piece?
I think we set up a committee similar to how we have courts. And maybe there's these 20 people that we have on the committee. Maybe we get 30 or 40 people and we say, hey, here's a list of
Tasks.
6 or 7 things that need to get done. The boat rack on Second Beach is still broken. And we have 3 people volunteer to go handle that.
And what's the means of communication?
Text or email. I like text personally.
It's fast.
Can you text 20 people, or do you want to do a like courts has that? I don't know.
But if there was a committee lead, everyone on the board at least would know what's going on when there's a report, whereas I just know today, I don't know about it before
Yeah,
today.
I mean, we could
Well,
get together.
this
and
is the
discuss
properties
it.
report, right?
Right,
So the
right.
properties report is being given by the 3 people who've been kind of ad hocing since.
And this is
Right.
how you would know
This is how
anyway.
you would find out anyway.
Mhm.
I think what Lori's
But I
saying is,
think that the committee lead and all the people that would join on the committee to do whatever helping hands
Would
task
report out.
would report out, and then we wouldn't have to worry about, like you said, having a specific manager.
You're right, you could use Team Ridge.
Team Rich.
Team Reach a good idea.
Yeah, not mine, it was hers.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
She was kind of Lisa's, I think.
Oh, okay.
She was saying whatever.
No, it was, and
I said whatever you use for courts, you could use for this.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I
Okay.
should've thought of that.
Okay, can I just finish my properties report for my
Yeah.
part, and then I'm gonna, I'm so bewildered right now, I have no idea. As far as the closet went, yes, Linda and I spent a good deal of time down there. It was riddled with mouse stuff, and we put everything back, we threw everything out that we could, like the yoga mats that had been there for years. I wasn't gonna go through them to figure out which one had been peed on and which ones hadn't, so they're all going. But it's all cleaned up right now. And then what we did was we put, like Linda and I decorate the beach. So everything that we use for that is up in the loft. It's a once a year thing. It's up in the loft to the left. All the Lake Hayward days and carnival stuff is up in the loft to the right. I'm going to end up printing and laminating and stapling labels that this is where this stuff gets returned to, something like that. Lynn Macri is going to go down into the closet and go through, I think there was like 10 or 12 totes of arts and crafts. And I told her, I said, there's so many things in there. You may not have to buy a thing this year because there's things in there. Certainly some things are dried up and she's got to throw them out, but there's some really good crafts in there that hopefully she gets some stuff from, and we're not buying more stuff to put in there. The signs, we went through all of the signs, and anything that we haven't done in the last years, like, I don't know, the boat parade or yoga on the beach and those kinds of signs, we bundled up, tie wrapped them, and they're in the loft. The signs that pertain to properties, meaning, Evelyn, if you get a beach closure, your signs are going to be in the middle closet. They're in properties closet now. And only signs that pertain to events are in the events closet. I think that there could be more done with the properties closet because I think we can, there's a hook for every shovel or every whatever. I think if we consolidate some of that space, we can hang the big rake up. But there's the reason I attacked this closet was because Linda Abel kept wanting to go in there to see what she had for bingo prizes or bingo this or whatever. And I said, stay the hell out of there. It's not safe. It's a tripping hazard. You just wait till I can go down there with you. So we went down there and we cleaned it all out. It is not a tripping hazard, and it can't be in the future. It just can't be. And the boat rack on Second, I have been working with Gary Peterson to fix that. After he puts the sign back in for Wildwood, we were going to work on that. That's it.
Oh, Lisa,
What about this?
Go ahead.
Lisa, what about the two work parties that you mentioned? They were mentioned before.
Well, they're going to be, I just threw dates out there. So on the 10th, not the 11th, because I think that's Mother's Day, but the 10th, we could pull the silt fences out and the hay bales. I think we were thinking about saying if anybody needed them for mulch or something on their property, they could be, Lori was going to send an email blast saying anybody who wants a hay bale on this date, you can take them.
Hey, FYI, rain date was May 11th.
Right, well, I'm reneging on that because
All
it's
right.
Mother's Day. And there's no way. It's my favorite holiday on the whole planet, and there's no way.
All right.
So, the 10th, I was thinking, we could do that, and I'll do that in the rain. I don't give a crap. It's just sand. But we were going to work on that, and I didn't know if we could get somebody with a trailer. We wanted to try to save the sandbags because they're, rather than buy them again next year, we could save them, put them on pallets down by the boat rack, the ball field. So that would be the 10th. If we could just start at the north and load that up and just deliver them to the ball field. That's one of the plans. And then the silt fence comes out, and then the hay bales. I'm going to try to reach Alex to come with his truck so we can get those. And if we can't, John Allegra said he would load them up and throw them in his compost. I could talk to John more about that. So that's the beach itself. The lake lines, we had picked the 17th to do that. So it's the weekend before Memorial Day. So we're, they're done. It's done for Memorial Day.
And that does have a rain date of May 18th, which is not Mother's Day.
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to melt or go all witchy if it's raining on me. So I'll do it in the rain, but whatever anybody else wants to do, but I'm there to help for the 17th. And then is that May 17th?
17th.
17th is Saturday.
All right. Well, it's a morning job, right? Because my nephew's graduation is that day. But yeah, so it's a morning job. I can still help. That'll be whatever. So that's May 17th. But Chris, again, if you want to spearhead that, I was just putting feelers out saying, okay, I know we have to get this stuff done. Let's pick this date, whatever. You and I can like get together and you tell me what needs to be purchased and I will buy everything.
I don't know if I want to spearhead it because I'm super busy at work right now.
Well, then if you want to set up the team reach, do you want to set up the team reach? Will that work?
Maybe I'll give the team reach a shot and see if we could create like a Lake Hayward properties team reach and see how that.
That would be great.
I mean, the first trial run could be this May 17th. Put my name in it. And then
We are going to, Lisa, we are going to, like maybe you and I at least need to go and do an inventory and buy, the chains are too short. Phil and I had to go and get second beach dock from across the lake. Those chains are too short. Some chains are rusted. Third beach, those chains are rusty. We need a bunch of stuff before the 17th.
not a problem. I have money to spend.
Did you have to get the dock recently?
Yeah, last year.
Last year, it was across.
Okay, not this year. It didn't
No.
float away this
Yeah,
year.
but nothing,
Okay.
yeah, we just need to, we can't just go and put them back in, otherwise we're gonna have the same trouble.
Okay.
The chains on Third Beach are about to snap. There's some stuff we have to get. We have to go to Ace and buy a bunch of stuff for Home Depot.
And we have an
Before
account,
the
we have an
17th.
account at Ace, so just go to Ace and get it.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be cost effective. So if I find the stuff, if we're talking about big lengths of chain, we'll get it where we can get it. I can write a check.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be cheaper at Home Depot.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we could take a Saturday, Lisa, and do an inventory. But I'll volunteer my trailer, not for the hay, but for the sand bales. If we could get a couple of people, I hurt my back, so I don't want to lift the sand bales.
I'm in the 10th party. And I've got the pallets to put the sand on.
See,
Yeah.
we've been all
But we
talking.
need to get a few more people.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
No, I know.
Chris, I'm going to text you on Friday and ask you what's a good time for Saturday for us to do that.
Okay.
Chris, I think
Right.
part of the problem
That's
is a lot of this information is in the spring packet, which is going out
It's 25th.
It's 25th. So I guess because we've been compiling the spring packet, we're aware of it, and I get the communication probably should might want to put that out sooner, or we could have been emailing the board to tell them all these things that we've been working on, but we've just been trying to get them done.
I mean, are we gonna do a one and done with the communications or is that gonna go out more than one time?
More than one, I think the spring packet's the first one. And
Right.
We're gonna have follow-up, then she was gonna do email blasts afterwards.
Right.
Like the spring packet would be the first thing, and then email blasts.
So I have dates for my email blast. They're going to go out for these different work parties.
I'll send out, I'll get the team read set up and make sure it works.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah,
Before we-
yeah. And then, and honestly, if you want to put the whole board on it, Chris, because we all help. So,
Absolutely. We could add people, as we could do like a couple administrators and add people as needed.
great.
But certainly
Sounds like-
everybody that you have those 20 folks,
Yes,
they need to be on. Most people are already on the pickleball site.
yeah. Evelyn,
So, did you happen to see a sign in there for Second Beach? It said kayak loading, unloading area, Lisa?
I did not. Is there one?
There used to be.
There was one last year.
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
Two, I think, right?
Okay, maybe.
Wait a minute, let me just make sure I didn't. Where do I scanned it? Hold on.
brownies.
You know, because Linda made a list of all of the signs that.
What's it usually stored in there? I can check with Dave.
Karaoke. I'm just looking at the list of signs that we put up top.
Believe it was yellow.
And kayak loading and unloading is not on the list that of things that we don't usually use. So maybe it's in the events and I didn't look at every one of them. That was Linda's job.
It might have said kayaks only.
It's a kayak,
I'm
something
trying to
like that. I
remember.
think loading, unloading, kayak, it's a divot area that goes into the cove.
Right.
One other thing, Third Beach swimming dock somehow is sitting on top of the new fencing. So I can't move that dock.
I'm
I'm
gonna-
gonna have to
Donna-
somehow figure out a way to move that dock so I can pull the fence out. from
Donovan,
underneath.
is that?
Okay,
Gonna ask John.
Yeah.
He'll do it. He'll help you, I'm sure.
all right, I just don't wanna ruin the fence. Cause it's underneath it and. I
How
don't
to
know.
get on? You guys installed it.
We did,
Saying the dock moved?
yeah. We're gonna blame kids. We don't know.
Who knows?
Okay,
Well, I can help you if you, whenever you want, you'll just like my contact, just let me know when you want to do it, or John. Sorry.
Well, I figure
No,
when
no,
we go
you
to put it in,
She
I
wanted
want to
to
be
see it.
there
You wanted
just
to
so
see
I
it.
can make sure that I get the fence out of the way.
So it's okay for now?
Yeah, there's no way to move it now. Too heavy.
I want to answer Evelyn's question about the branches. So
Ah,
first of all, first he went to do the branches and then he needed to move first he was going to, Tyree Tree was going to do the dead branches.
They need a
And it-
kayak rack moved.
Well, we couldn't get in because they were working on the roads.
Ah.
For the water. Okay, so then when they were done, then the ground froze and the kayak racks were frozen in the ground and you couldn't move them. So then he had to wait until the ground defrosted, which was March, which was great. And then people were it was the same time people were putting their kayaks in the racks. And then it got really wet. So as my text with him today, he says he was waiting for North Reserve to dry out so that he could get in there because he was worried initially about ruining that pole off, and because his equipment's quite heavy. So he's looking at that when it dries out, and he's saying it's drying. I mean, it hasn't rained as much as the rain is ceasing. I'm very tired. I apologize. I can't even talk. So he's working on that. He will soon. He needs his climber. He's removed as many branches at first that he can reach with his machine. He needs his climber to go up to do the rest. So he's going to work with his climber to do the rest at first.
Does he want me to have people remove their kayaks for now?
I asked him that. I said,
I will. I'm going door to door.
I asked him if we needed to do that, and he said that his guys could handle it. But I'm going to
Okay.
remind him that when they go to do it, I mean, even if they tell us the day, I mean, I can go down there and just pull kayaks off and help his guys pull kayaks off so that they can move around. But that was what it was. It was a perfect storm of hurdles or whatever that it wasn't one after another. So
Okay.
so that's the.
So I looked over there today and I
Yeah,
was like,
no, it's still there.
yeah.
It's still there. So go
I
ahead.
I was just gonna ask Lisa. Lisa, do we have a time for the 10th? Do we have just shooting for any specific time for the hay bales and sandbags?
I get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. You tell me.
It's early.
For what, breakfast, or I'm talking about removing the hay and
That's
the.
what I'm talking about. No, I don't have a specific time. You know,
down there prior.
you have, Chris, you have the wagon. So whatever you want.
8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8 and 6, we'll say 6 for breakfast.
Sure. You like Cheerios?
Make it,
Wow.
make it Fruit Loops.
Man,
Okay, anything else on properties?
What do we say? May 10th?
May 10th is the hay bales, Lisa, and the silt fence.
All right.
Thanks for swimming lines.
All right, we'll go with 8. Son of a bee. I have an appointment in West Hartford at 9 o'clock. But
we could do it after then when you
Yeah.
get back.
Or you don't have to help.
Yeah. Well,
You've done
You got
enough.
your nephew's graduation. What time's that?
That's for
That's on the 17th.
that's on the 17th. That's in the afternoon. What about Friday night?
they know what to do.
Why don't we do, we'll talk later.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to help. I mean,
Three of us that put them
Let me
in,
know,
put
'cause I
the
can
silt
only do
fence
the
in.
10th, I can't do the 17th.
I wouldn't mind starting Friday after work on some of this because I'm already coming home from work. I could start pulling silt fence up and
That's gonna be a lot of digging. I mean, we buried those puppies.
You mean the 9th?
yeah, that's what I meant. I meant the 9th.
I could probably start on the 9th. I can, just as long as we don't go too late.
Speaking of time check, it's 8 o'clock.
Thank you. I just looked
Thanks, Craig.
myself.
Yeah, Chris, let's talk. I'm good with the 9th. We can start it. I can finish it.
All right.
Okay.
Keep us all in the loop.
We'll keep everything.
All right. I'm,
Maybe it will be on Team Reach.
oh, that would be awesome. All right, I'm gonna move on to public safety. If, nobody else has anything on properties? Okay. So I did meet with, Dave Burton and John Mays, as I mentioned earlier. We had a lot of good talk. They have a lot of great ideas. Dave Burton, is going to talk to the, East Haddam, I don't know if it's the resident, that he's gonna talk to. I forgot who he said, but it's the person that I guess gives out the allocation of orders to the officers. So he's going to have them do patrol checks. Probably more so in the evening, and then on the weekends. He said, and he did say, he goes, if you're having an event or a food truck and they're there, feed them. So I said, okay, he goes, you always got to feed them. But we talked about,
We probably should let Lynn Butler know that, like through the food trucks and stuff, so that she can queue up the food trucks to be aware that we'll do that.
okay. And Dave said he would watch the events calendar, but we'll stay in contact with him anyways. As he's right here. And then we talked about cameras. And he said that there's this new system in place that the police departments use. It would have to be put on Lake Hayward Town Road. It's called Flock. And it reports right to the police station. So they would see live activity. So if somebody was to call them and say, we're having a nuisance, we have trespassers, we have this, we have that, they would see it. So he's checking to find out if East Haddam actually has that system already. If they do, it's $3,000 per camera per year, which to have that kind of security, not so shabby. And he also said, don't you ever go down there alone again. That's what he told me to tell you.
Oh, okay.
So I did.
Okay.
Okay. So he's looking into that, and I asked him about the angle of the like how wide are the angles? Like, you know, if we put one, like on First Beach, would we see the pavilion and the tennis courts? Like what would we see? So he's looking into that. Him and John Mays had some great ideas about signage. So John is looking into all the signage. So we you know, we're obviously going to need some funding for some signage. We are not properly signed. I talked to them about, and this might be a little something more with the insurance company and or not, I don't know. But like we talked about the basketball court and, you know, play at your own risk or whatever. And they said, no, they said, put on there members only. And then in your newsletter, you put basketball courts, tennis courts, amenities are for members and their guests only. Play at your own risk or use at your own risk. I said, okay, because we don't have anything on the basketball court right now. But it was a really good meeting and they have a lot of good ideas. They also do think putting a sign at the top of Lake Hayward Town Road, and they call them all Lake Hayward Road.
Lake Hayward Town Road. Lake Hayward Town Road.
As the entrance to the community, and then putting on there either no public lake access or private community private beach community, on all three of the entrance signs.
Thank you.
Um,
The second one sounds a little more socially correct. Like the Tigers Beach community.
Yeah, I like that better
No
too.
public, no.
I
mean,
don't-
That's just gonna, you're dealing with somebody like shooting it over the shotgun or something.
I
Well,
like the second one better too. So those were, it was a really productive, good meeting. And they're both doing their thing and they'll get back to us.
you know, on cameras, so on the Plymouth Glen walkway, somebody's got a camera on that walkway right now.
Oh,
It's trail. cam.
oh,
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
trail cam.
Listen.
Somebody's, is it yours?
It's,
The people who live
yeah,
next
and
door?
it will come down because that's our property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I saw it today.
Yeah.
so here's the other thing about this flock.
Hmm.
If if we have it in the community and you want to hook up your Ring camera, like your front door, you can do that.
Hmm.
Which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Some people are like, oh my God, no, I mean, for me, I don't care. Like if someone's, well, if they're watching out for my house, they can hook up to my Ring camera. I don't care who they see, who comes and goes. I don't know, hi, you know.
You never know.
But I'm just saying, so it was a really neat,
It has automatic shades.
Tells you something, doesn't
you know, it took a long time for them not to scare me every night when I heard them.
Just gotta clap your hands.
No, I can, I
it?
can,
Sorry, we're digressing on these
I
guys.
know, all right.
I think Greg
Anyways,
is gonna
so-
go.
So again, you know, I don't know if this is gonna be worked out before June 30th and then we go into the next budgeting year, but whatever Dave finds out about the cameras, you know, if we're talking 1 or 2 cameras, that's 3 or 6,000, that we might want to go to the budget committee for, if we decide this is what we want to do when he presents it. Or if we want to find money this year, if it could happen that quick, I don't know.
Just a question regarding that. So say we think we might want these cameras, right? Couldn't we go to the budget committee and say we're planning on doing this rather, and so deal with planning rather than dealing with actuals? Because I mean, previously, the budget committees dealt all with pretty much actuals.
Yes.
Okay. And so maybe we just change the approach a little bit.
I mean, if Dave comes to us and says East Haddam doesn't have it, then,
Then it's a done deal.
Right.
Yeah,
but then we look into something different.
right.
But I think we do want to plan for something down there.
Yeah.
And having it report back to town police or the state, wherever it goes, or it would be monitored would be fantastic. The other thing when Julia and I met with Dave a long time ago, we talked about is having, some kind of center sign that goes into the First Beach, parking lot. And they're looking at Second Beach as well. But Dave did offer up his son for this summer to sit down there and monitor for 4 hours. I go, are you sure? He goes, he's not going to sit around. I said, all right, we'll talk about it. But you know what? If we wind up having somebody that we pay him a few bucks or something to sit down there and, you know, 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, it's a deterrent. And you know, I did ask him about, you know, what if they give the monitor, you know, if it's they said hire young kids, and I'm like, well, that's not that easy. But what if they give them trouble? And they said, well, they call on the phone and they say, you know, whatever, someone's giving me trouble, and the police come and take care of it. I said, okay.
Did you guys talk about not only parking, but there have been known people are parking on public streets and then walking to the beach? So are they addressing that aspect as well? Like, are we going to do something?
So Dave, we did talk about that no parking sign. He's going to talk to Michelle about that too, I think. The one that you can't tell says no parking anymore. But you don't want to get into the, you know, no parking on the streets thing, because that really creates an issue. which we talked about with Dave. Do you remember talking to him
Right.
about that? So I don't know. I mean, I think it's something we can try to talk to him a little bit more about, but,
Yeah, because I mean, they park up at the fire station at the other end and they walk in all the time.
It's like I like Hayward Road.
really,
Yeah, so it's more monitoring the beaches, but I don't know if the community wants that, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know you were.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing, we talked about that, this, the only thing you can't patrol that unless there's a fire engine or something
Oh,
that
they
can't get through.
yeah.
right.
Then it becomes an issue. If they're not in the way of that, then there's really nothing.
Right.
we can do.
And if they are in the way, the fire truck takes care of
They're
it.
not gonna ticket them, they're not gonna monitor them for that.
Right. So I don't know if that's a,
A discussion for them.
yes, yeah. But so good things in the works, and I'm so happy that we have two people that are knowledgeable in safety and what we can and can't do and all of that. Anything else on public safety? Good. Are you leaving, Lisa?
I am.
But
Lisa, Sylvia, you, everybody's waving. Oh, okay, bye. All right, webmaster. My daughter said she was gonna pop on. I don't think she's on. But
There's the P.
She's on. She's on.
yeah, there she is. So I know Jeff saw the new website, right?
It's beautiful.
That's how you got on, Jeff, right?
No, I just clicked on the link on your text message. I mean, I did see it for a glimpse, but it was more so to just get on.
Okay, I know. You just clicked on the lakehayward.com or .org or whatever it was.
Right.
Okay, so the new website is up. However, I'll let Melanie tell you a little bit more. It's not complete by any stretch, but it's up.
Yeah, that's basically it. It switched over a little earlier than we would have liked, but that's just because iPower didn't have a way for us to import a certificate basically for the old site. So we just swapped over to the new one a little early. There's still some things that need to be moved over from the old website to the new one, but I tried to make sure that anything very big and important is on there. All of the events are on there. A good portion of the forums are on there. That sort of thing. We should have the current version of the bylaws on there. I am gonna upload all of the old versions of the bylaws and that sort of thing, but those haven't been moved over yet. And the other thing, and Lisa just left, but the other thing is I got to get together with Lisa and talk through with her about how we organize the financials on there, because she wanted to get together and talk through that. So those are the big updates, but you can go look at it, and it
And any recommendations or anything that you have, send them.
yeah.
Anything you
And what I'm thinking is I'll probably make a Google form, and if you guys want anything uploaded to the website going forward or any changes made to the website, I think we'll just do it through there. That way I can track everything and make sure everybody gets what they want. And that includes things like, oh, I don't really like how this is worded. A couple of places when I was moving things over, like FAQs, I noticed things that probably didn't belong worded the way that they were. Just things like 4 years ago or something like that. And I was like, well, this was probably uploaded 4 years ago. So got rid of that kind of thing. But I kept to the heart of pretty much everything. So hopefully it all makes sense. The other thing that needs to be changed is right now the forms are still just forms. So we are going to move most of those over to being Google Forms. I just want to make sure when we do that, that they get moved over to be the appropriate like email that those responses are meant to go to. And so that's Mom and I were supposed to get together before this, and we just haven't had a chance to. So we'll actually schedule some time so we can go through those and get everything updated.
to see you. Oh,
Virtually.
all right, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, nobody wanted the laptop pulled out at Easter dinner, unfortunately. So,
And so that can't go down. How'd you get on? Like, what did you get on?
I got on, but when I go to other stuff, I'm getting a lot of oops.
Yeah, so, all right, Mel, so I think, so I got the thing, it sent me an email, I think I have to approve something. So we literally doing this 10 minutes before you all walked in. So,
sometimes you just have stuff cached, but what are you getting when you go to the website?
I get Safari cannot open the page because too many redirects occurred.
Huh. That shouldn't happen.
I got right on.
I'm on the page.
I'm right on too.
Oh. Maybe close this.
Not now.
Yeah, maybe just close the app and open it again. It might just. I can't speak for Safari.
Oh yeah, you got the wrong color. You know what? Close your app. You know how to close this, right?
And Melanie, when you're talking about the Google Forms, you're talking about having them fillable.
Okay. Now we'll-
I got three.
Correct. Well, so for most of them, we likely won't make them fillable, and we'll directly like Google form to a Google sheet and have it be that way. It seems like for most of these forms, that is probably just going to be easier for people to process things anyways. I do know that we have a couple of forms that are more official, and those need to be like fully filled out and signed by the user. And so those will keep being like filled, and like you get a PDF at the end of it, and it's not like getting put into a Google sheet. But for stuff like there's ones, for example, there's a contact form where people fill it out, and then that's like updating their contact info with you guys. Basically anything that doesn't require a signature. I was going to move over to having a sheet attached to it, just because I think that probably makes everybody's lives easier. And then anything that requires a signature we'll keep as a fillable form. But we can also go over that and like adjust it if that's not working for folks. We can. I do keep an eye on the webmaster email, so you can always just send an email there too, and we can figure something out.
So Mel, Julia's trying to get on Safari.
Nancy too.
Nancy, are you on Safari?
Yeah, it looks like it's having a Coke thing.
So
I'm on Safari.
so it's flopping from and com, org.com. So the certificate is org, but it flops to com.
Yep. So there's a certificate issued for both, and both should be available on the site.
Yeah.
What you did?
Background there is months ago when I initially went to set this up, Mom has mentioned to me that the site ought to be .org and not .com, and it was kind of just like a leftover of whenever it was set up. And that URL was available, so I was using .org as kind of like a staging as I was testing everything. And I figured that way, once we have the .com fully switched over and pointing to the new site, now if you go to .org or .com, they both take you to the same place. But it shouldn't stick you in a redirect loop with that. It should just have two certs that it answers for, depending on.
You have a software update.
Yeah, I think tonight.
Oh, that could be it. I'm all updated.
Okay.
Are you updated?
This reminds me of like trying to help my father with all of his passwords. How come I can't get in? I got to reset my password. How come it's not working for me?
There is a lot of that. I do the same thing with my grandfather. My mom watched that last week. So
Because I wanted everybody to be able to get on. Yeah.
But I tried to make it so that the board meetings especially are visible in a ton of different places on the website. So you can see it in the events area on the top. You can see it on the events area below that. And then we also have a button that says view upcoming board meetings, and that'll also get you where you can go, where you want to go.
Yeah,
and then there are some FAQs around as well where I said, like, how can I go to a board meeting? And I put some answers there. A couple of these I don't have answers for, but I've noticed And so I just probably need to talk to my mom, but there are things that I've noticed that people ask a lot on Facebook, in the Facebook groups. And so I wanted to add those in. Like, where can I find information on water shut off and turn on? I find those questions get asked a ton in the Facebook groups.
It's just so this year.
Hey, Beans, your name is on the newsletter thing. It says newsletters, August 30th, 2024 newsletter. Melanie March 17th, 2025.
It's because I posted it. So Mom, I'm going to show you how to post those. And that's purposefully the way that I set it up. You should be able, for very, very simple website things like posting the newsletter or posting the Gazette or posting spring packets. Those things, I'm going to show you how to do it yourself, but there's basically, it's almost like a blog post and it'll automatically show on the front page of the website whatever is like the latest post.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So right now I only have one. So that's why that's what you see there, and I wrote it, so that's what's there.
Okay.
So,
ahead.
so the events calendar, is this why the upcoming board meetings aren't on it? Are we not putting them on there?
They're on it.
Not next month?
Take a look.
I did today.
Sugar cookie.
Not sugar. The Lake Hayward calendar. April,
That's on my.
it's on there? Must just be me. Okay, never mind. So let's see if I can get it. Oh, there they are. Never mind. Okay. When I was looking today, they weren't there. Oh,
Well, it might have been because the website was
Yeah.
down or whatever. Who knows? God knows. I don't know. It was crazy today.
It's so much more user friendly. So much more user friendly. Thank you.
Nice job, Mel.
Yeah.
You're not
And
done.
I think we'll have incremental improvements here for a while, but it's nice to have you guys switched over to the new one, and we'll keep making it more useful. I have a feeling that there's a couple things on here that need to get done in the next like day or two, because I think like, I don't know legally like what history of bylaws you need to have on your website or that sort of thing. I have like I said, I have the current ones on there, but I just don't know the details of what legally needs to be on there in terms of history. Like, do you need the full history? Do you need like, I pulled off of the old one, like, I think all the way back to 2002. So do all of those need to be on there, or?
We have a list, Mel. I'll have to look at the list and tell you, but financials, all the financials should be on there as far back as they go.
All right. So I'll talk to Lisa about how she wants to organize those, and we'll get them up there as soon as we can.
The bylaws too.
The same thing, and you need like all of the history of them, basically. Okay, that's fine. We'll get them on there.
I especially like the profile photos you use for the board members. They're very spot on and accurate.
That's another thing. That's another thing that I need. If you guys want to send me some blurbs, so what Craig is talking about here is, like I said, there's just a lot of information that I need to get with Mom and kind of like actually get the actual info for.
I didn't know Julia was Jamaican.
I sent the link in the chat, but the idea is we can have a little, you know what? I can share my screen.
Melanie, can you have like a
I see them.
So if you guys want to send, but no need if you don't want an actual photo of you, and we can change who's on here, but I figured it might be nice to have a little blurb so folks can meet you guys.
I think Joel, you look pretty young.
oh my gosh.
Oh, Sobe, you're gorgeous.
I think I'm a man.
You are.
So if you guys want to send me a sentence or two blurb about yourselves, if you want to have different people on here, if you don't want to be on here at all, I can get rid of it. But I thought it could be a nice little thing, like meet your board members. So.
All right. Well, we can't have like 3 board members and not 9. Either we all go on or we all don't.
We could do that too. I can make this longer. So in that case, though, what I'll do is I'll make a little form. Do you want this, or do you want me to get rid of it?
I think I guess it's nice as long as I'm not a dude.
Well, I'm gonna ask you for a picture, so you can pick if you want to pick a picture of a guy. That's up to you. But
Um,
I'll give you a picture of
So-
Sandra Bullock for me. I do have a question for you though. So if when you're on, I'm going back. So when I go back on the new website, if I look at events, it brings me to the calendar. Could there be a button that has you go back to where you were before or go back to the homepage? Or is it just the back arrow?
click on the chair on the top, the logo.
No, when you're in the calendar, my view, all I see is just the calendar, nothing else.
Oh,
So the reason for that is that links directly to a Google Calendar. So that's not hosted on the website anymore. That's like a link that Google provides. So that's why.
oh.
But I'm looking into, and again, I just need to get my mom on the phone for a little while because I don't have admin to the Google workspace. There's ways to export different embed codes of the Google Calendar, basically. So if we can get the right one, we can actually have it be inside the website itself, which I think might be a better way of doing things.
Lisa, I
And
just
then
back button.
Well, right. I mean, and I did the same thing too, but my first thought was to look around to see if there was a button that would bring you back to the homepage.
for sure. Yeah. So we can do it that way. And then the other thing that I'd like to offer that, as far as I know, is not currently offered at least, is Google Calendar usually provides a really nice way for you to basically like subscribe to a calendar, and then it'll send it to like your personal Google Calendar as well, and it'll show us another calendar. So we can make that available to people on there.
And if they choose to do that, if there's any updates to the calendar, will it here's our new board member. Will it automatically update?
Yes. Yeah.
It will. Beautiful. So real time. I love that.
And the other thing I'm going to do is embed the YouTube channel that you guys own on the website. And that'll mean that you don't have to keep manually uploading the videos for each week. It'll just link to the channel, and the channel will always show the most recent YouTube video that's uploaded.
I have a question on that, Melanie. Is there a way to incorporate that into Google? Like if you just do a YouTube live that automatically records so that we don't have to do any of that? Because I don't know what technology is needed to get like a Google Meet like this on a YouTube live. Do you know what I'm saying?
I've never done it, but I don't imagine it would be too difficult. So I can test that out and probably run one for you for the next.
Because that way, that way everybody could just click on the YouTube if they want to just watch and not be a part of the meeting. The public can. Anyways, just something I thought of. We do it in our church. We put our church services on YouTube, and it automatically stays on that link. So anyway.
Yeah, I think the only concern with that might be if you do that, then if people click that thinking that they're joining the full meeting and they leave YouTube comments or anything like that, we won't respond to them. And so that might be something that causes some friction. We'd have to think about how to do that.
Yeah, okay. I got you. That makes sense.
But we can definitely like set it up, even if you just have the YouTube live. Like if you do that, basically what it means is it's recording as you go, and so you don't have to upload anything at the end. It's just automatic.
That's what I'm getting at, because
That's
because the process to upload is I have to download it from the Google Drive. It takes up all the space on my computer. It has to render, then I have to upload it to YouTube. I mean, it's a process that if we didn't have to do it, it would be great.
Yeah, so I think we should be able to arrange that. And it's like YouTube is owned by Google, so I'd be shocked if there's not a really nice way to integrate that anyways.
And I think the workaround to your issue about people clicking on the wrong thing is they wouldn't necessarily have access to the YouTube live link, but if we put this Google Meet on the YouTube live, and then that was all encompassing. You understand?
Yes. Yeah, I think I'll have to play around with it and just make sure it does what we want it to, but I think that should be fine.
Perfect.
So I think that's it for me. Correct me if I'm forgetting anything, or if anybody has any anything else that they want to bring up. Yeah,
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you.
Looks great.
popping onto the website, and I'll circulate that form that I mentioned for requesting website changes. But also just email the webmaster email if you have questions or you want anything fixed, and we'll take care of it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm gonna hop. But thanks all. Have a good night.
Hop.
Bye.
Bye. Lisa, I just wanted you to know Holly Landers, is on.
Thank you. I see that.
Okay. It's hard for me to, I can't, you guys are a little smaller down there.
We look bad. I look better when I'm smaller.
Okay, so webmaster, any more? Everybody good? Good. Events. So Julia, you want to talk about the tag sale?
I don't have, okay, just real quick. So there are some people who are trying to put together funding for the playground. And they thought a tag sale would be a good idea and they would charge $10 for an 8-foot space and $5 for a 4-foot space. We could use tables that we have at the pavilion. They could bring their own table if they wanted, but they're gonna charge for space. They also asked the playground committee if they would do a bake sale and all the proceeds could go to the playground, and they want to do that. And people who want to donate plants can donate plants, and they'll sell those with all the proceeds going to the playground fund. Some members have asked if they can donate items for the tag sale, and we can, and we'll figure out the logistics of that. But again, all those proceeds would go to the playground fund. So that was just, this will all be in the spring packet. And then again, Lori will follow up with email blasts, but it's scheduled for May 24th. And I think it's on the calendar, the events calendar. So, but that was a woman over on Sunset who came up with that idea. So it's kind of nice that people in the community are reaching out to do different things and to help fund, and that'll probably segue into your playground.
What about donating money?
You can donate money anytime. There's a fund.
How?
Send it to Lisa or Pula and send it to
Money to
Lisa.
Lisa.
Send it to Lisa, but put in the
I like
memo,
her, but not that much.
Donation for whatever you want to
put in the
donate.
memo playground.
Is it tax deductible?
There's $991 or something so far in there. It's on the cash flow sheet.
So would that be in the spring packet as well?
It could be. So, all right. So it gets a little funky with that because when we first started talking about donations and fundraising, everybody was up in arms like, how come we can't just pay for that? We paid for the tennis courts. Why is this everything got to be fundraised? And I said, well, the committee themselves wanted to fundraise. And yes, if it
That's a
winds up,
legitimate answer.
yeah, I mean, and if in the end, we wind up going into our reserves to help pay for it, then we do that. But there wasn't any opposition to doing that. It's just they wanted to fundraise.
So that's why we shouldn't solicit for donations
Yeah.
because we're going to ask to pay in the
But if you
long
want to
run.
donate, you
At
can,
least
but
a
is it
portion.
tax deductible? I don't know that. I don't know that it is.
I was just wondering.
But there is, some people have written checks.
Yes, and some of it was through fundraising, the 991, whatever it is. But
Didn't I Venmo somebody?
They're getting my information.
you did.
I am losing my mind. It could have been you.
No, I did
No, I
too.
think I Venmo Trish.
Yeah, I did too. For something, I don't know.
I think it was they did that fundraiser in January, what did
Yeah.
did?
Yeah,
So you probably bought something or gave them.
I think it was a contest or something, or I don't know. I don't remember, or I don't know. Anyway,
Moving on.
yeah. So moving on. So we're going to move on to events. I mean, we're staying in events. I still have more events here. So this is a big one, guys. We're going to all love this one, and we're all going to be happy about it. So, we've been talking about swim lessons. We've been talking about tennis lessons. I'm going to come right out of the gate and say, we live in a community that has tennis courts, pickleball courts, basketball courts, a baseball field, beaches. We are an athletic community. Our insurance company has walked this community, and we pay insurance based on what we have here. So we recently inquired, we didn't speak directly with our insurance company, we spoke with our agent. And we inquired about lessons for perhaps tennis or lessons for swim or what have you. And they said that we are not insured for athletic events. I have an issue with that because we are an athletic community that they walked. So I would like to inquire a little bit more about that. I didn't agree with his answer at all. How could they walk our community now? And they're saying athletic sponsored events.
Sponsored, that's the key word in the whole thing, is it's sponsored.
So do we want to ask, here's the question, do we want to ask the insurance company what it would cost to have PULA sponsored events like tennis lessons or maybe other things that we do? I mean, you have a baseball field. How do you not have a baseball game?
I think so.
No,
I think we can ask and then we can make a decision. Because it doesn't cost, there's no commitment to asking, right?
right. So I just thought I'd put it before us. The other side of the coin, which and Dave knows about all of this too. But the other side of the coin was, so then we further asked the attorney. Because you gotta cover bases, right?
Mm,
And I'm not sure if the chicken or the egg came first, but so the attorney basically said, well, if someone were to give lessons of, let's say, tennis, they themselves would have to be insured. And they would also have to indemnify, have the instructor also sign an indemnity, and have everyone sign a waiver. So it's still pretty,
Even if they're volunteering to teach?
even if they're a member, even if they're volunteering, even if they're,
So we're not paying somebody.
right, but we as PULA board are sponsoring an athletic event.
But what if who's not sponsoring it?
Well, I asked that if
Yeah.
if they were doing it independently, and the answer was
This is what we do.
they would have to
all the
be
risks is
insured,
on-
they'd have to sign an indemnity, and then at the end it was, and I would still clear it with the carrier. So-
I think that's a bit of a, I mean, so Chris, weren't you doing pickleball? Like, weren't you and your wife doing pickleball stuff? Like,
I think it's ultra conservative, what they're saying,
Yeah,
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't, but I mean.
I mean, but that's what I would expect an attorney or an insurance company to say exactly that.
right. So I
It
think,
doesn't mean we're not covered, doesn't mean that I'm just.
that's a good point.
And
I think we ask what it costs
For a rider. Yeah.
for a rider.
Okay.
I mean, does everybody agree with that? Is everybody in
well,
favor
it
of
sounds
that?
like we have to because we do put on Lake Hayward Days. That is an event.
So
We
I was
do
trying-
events.
Yeah, we're
We
trying
have-
not to,
I was trying
not
not
to
to.
say that.
Yeah, I know you're not trying to.
But it is, but it is. So
Events,
I
the
think-
band, someone could turn an ankle dancing. I
Well,
mean,
we need to ask.
we need that.
I've been playing pickleball at a couple of different places,
Mhm.
including East Haddam, whether it's indoors or outdoors. I had to sign a waiver.
Doesn't mean anything.
I know,
Right.
but
And I'm
Yes,
guessing your
There's
person
one
that's
there, we can still get
giving
sued.
lessons or whatever,
we're just playing.
oh, you're just
No
playing,
lawsuit, just playing,
and it's a waiver, yeah.
and I have to sign a waiver.
The world has turned Sue happy. I mean,
We've talked about getting waivers, but the problem is the people who were generous enough to teach us pickleball last year and who were going to be generous enough to teach us tennis this year with the children. They want to be protected
And you can't blame them.
because they don't want someone coming after them.
Right.
And even though they're doing it for free, and even though they're a member, so this is just like, it's just not simple.
Right. So, so we asked the insurance company what it takes to,
They may or may not even agree to put a price on it,
right,
because it is, I mean, first of all, as you know, we're difficult to insure to start with.
yep,
And then they go out and each year competitively bid carriers, and they have difficulty finding carriers that'll do this.
right.
And now we're asking for a little bit more.
So I think, Dave, and I'm not sure, but you know, when I went back a little bit and researched, I think before that, we were insured for athletic events. And at one point, our insurance dropped. Actually, it might have been the year we were on the budget committee, and it dropped significantly. And I think that's what it was.
Hmm.
They dropped the athletic.
The deductible went up as well.
Right.
Mhm.
So I think it might have been both.
Mhm.
So maybe you know,
It-
because something made it like tank.
I remember that.
And we waited for that number.
Deductible went up significantly,
Yeah.
and I think the other thing was the rider for athletic activity, but I'm not 100% sure.
So I guess what I'm saying is we did have it before and they did insure us for before. Maybe. Anyway,
I'll ask.
we'll ask.
But I don't think you're gonna get a volunteer to have their own insurance.
Yeah.
We're not going to go the Lake Hayward days and say, anyone who volunteers to do a popping a balloon contest has to
I
have their
think
own
we need,
insurance.
yeah, but I think we need more of a definition of what a pool sponsored athletic event is.
Do we
From-
want to just limit it to athletic events? I mean, that's really the question on the table.
Right.
Lake Hayward Days is not an athletic event. I mean, a potato sack race is not an athletic event. You know, like that's not what I think the
I think it might
would
be correct.
Consider it would be.
I would consider it would be.
well, I would say a 3-on-3 basketball tournament would be an athletic event. But I would think that carnival games is not.
Would an arranged baseball game be an athletic event?
Well, yeah, an arranged baseball game. Say what?
That's why I go shoot golf balls down there.
Well, we won't say what is and what isn't. We'll just say.
Ask the question.
Yes.
Ask the
Right.
question.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Am I limiting the scope of the question to athletic events, or is it going to be broader to include all events?
So maybe ask for both, Dave.
Okay.
I mean, we want to know what that, what the definition of those are in their eyes.
No, they won't answer that.
They won't.
What they'll answer is if you define what it is, they will answer that question, but they're not going to define it for you.
Okay. All right.
So I will look at what we do and I will define it 2 different ways for them and see what we get.
Awesome.
Okay?
Okay. Yep. I like it. Everybody good with that?
Swimming, tennis, pickleball. What else do we do besides the things that may?
Swimming is the big one. that
Yeah,
they-
that's the big one.
They have, there's an exclusion in our policy right now
Right.
for swimming.
Right.
It specifically excludes it.
Right.
And what about the fishing?
But,
Is that athletic?
well, I mean, there's fishing derby, although we haven't had one.
This is a problem. I
So
mean,
we don't know. And so this is why we
Yeah.
need to ask. And we do have on our Lake Hayward Day, one of them, we have some,
Golf tournament.
no, we have some
well, we do have a
activities
golf
that are,
tournament.
That's not here.
But
It's sponsored, and someone could get hurt.
the golf tournament is being held.
At somewhere else.
Yeah.
No,
It's at a golf course. It's a,
Okay, this is,
yeah, so anyway, yeah, all right,
Let's
well,
just get the thing. We know there's a
Yeah.
bunch of things out there. And
yeah,
we don't know
I
the
have
definition.
basic questions for now.
Just a time check. It's 8:44 and I think there's 4 items still to talk about.
I think Dave knows what to ask.
I'll be careful.
Thank you. Okay, but that was big. I mean, it is big. Okay, geese,
Okay, so there haven't been a lot of flocks. We've seen a couple of pairs. Holly and I have been walking properties. Gail went out a couple times with a friend in his boat and looking around. I'm speed talking here. We had, Nutmeg Farms come out and kayak the whole lake. Found a nest out in the marsh by the ice house. Replaced 5 real eggs with porcelain eggs.
I saw that male.
Yeah,
He was squawking.
yeah, I heard him the other night, he wasn't happy. So, I have permission from a couple of the East Shore, so I go over there every once in a while and look. But we had Matt come out again Saturday to see if Matt is Lynette's son, Nutmeg Farms, to see if there were any new eggs in that nest. Because she
wasn't finished with her clutch.
she didn't have a chance. The nest had been ramshacked.
Really?
3 of the eggs were gone.
Oh,
One of them was clawed.
oh,
They think it was a raccoon.
oh.
So,
should put them on the payroll.
But she might still try to lay.
well,
Yeah.
so we're back to square one.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to be, I was expecting at least 2 to 3 pairs anyway. So we're gonna kind of start back at square one and see. Just keep looking, I think now will be easier because people's pontoon boats will be going in the water, so we'll be able to have access better. What else? The fence seems to be working. We had 1 lone geese. Holly's husband took a picture of it. Standing on the other side of the fence, looking
Inside the beach?
in the water.
Oh.
Looking at the beach, like,
How did I get there?
how do I get there? I have had a few people ask me about the fence and how to get it, and I've sent them the link.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, there's the picture. I think that's it. Can I give Holly access to the geese email?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay.
Scrambled goose.
The egg, they're porcelain, it was clawed. You could see the claw marks. Kind of worried about the geese, but
Okay, any more on geese?
Holly, you have anything to add?
The only thing I can think of is that if people do happen to find a nest, that they don't touch it or do anything with it, because I guess it's illegal to actually disturb them except for somebody like Lynette who's got a permit. But we also want to allow them to lay their eggs so that we can replace them. But
Right.
just to report it to the Goose Committee or to Lori or whoever.
Thank you, Holly.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to unfinished business. Kiosk replacement, I think we already kind of covered that. Spring packet, I'm just gonna hit real quick. This is the list of all the stuff that's going in the spring packet. I know, hey, data dump. But I also have to add that, I'm not gonna do it. I wish, I'm not even gonna say, it. Okay, never mind. I was gonna talk about the dam a little bit, but I'm not.
Yeah.
in new business you are though, because you put a couple people off.
Yes. So the spring packet's almost done. If anybody has anything else, I know that people were talking about a welcome committee, which didn't go in the spring packet because we don't have anybody doing a welcome committee, but I know there were suggestions. I'm not gonna put anything in there if there's nobody to participate in it. I think, I mean, I just have too much on my plate to do that.
I think it's a good idea.
I do
But
too.
I think that we've got a lot of things going on right now. That are having more immediate.
All right, so I'm gonna move on. New business,
We talked about pontoon boats.
yeah.
Do you know at Third Beach, there are concrete blocks with moorings on our property?
No,
There are.
Are they ours?
were they sanctioned by us?
People tell me that in the past they've used them. They're in the water. They're big, like 24-inch, 36-inch.
Are they for a dock maybe, Dave?
I don't know. All I know is there's these big blocks in the water and they have a big metal loop in the top that you could tie something to very easily.
You
How
know,
far out in the water? How deep?
They're on the shore.
you know who we can ask
They're
is,
right up against the shore.
we can ask
Steve.
Gary Peterson.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Are they on the left side or the right side if you're looking out at the lake
If you're looking at the lake
from the beach?
from the beach, they're way far to the left.
So
like-
past where that dock is?
Beyond that.
Okay.
Okay.
The only reason I know is I picked up a bunch of trash down there.
Are they a hazard, do you think? Like people walking or something, or
Nobody
Nobody's
walks
walking
there.
over there.
no? Just you picking up trash?
You'd have, I mean, there's poison ivy
You
that you
can't
have
get
to
in there.
deal with.
Oh.
But people, they were put there for use. But if you've got a situation where all the pontoon boats don't fit in a certain, and we needed to find alternate anchorage, it's our property. They're available to certainly hold a boat.
Then the charging issue comes in.
That's
The
not
what?
better.
The what?
I don't figure out how they charge their.
Oh, solar, people are going solar now.
It's kind of gotta be.
Listen, if you want your boat in the water, solar.
Figure out your own charger. I'm not responsible to charge your boat.
Yeah.
But it's just, there are anchorages down there.
All right, let me ask Gary or Dave Edgington or the guys that have been around for a while. I know, he'll probably know.
Bill too.
Or
Yeah.
Bill Taylor, Gary Peterson, Bill Taylor, what, they'll know, Gary.
Because I mean, I think the dock that sticks out belongs to the association as well.
It does.
Yeah,
And Bill keeps his sailboat there. But there's nothing on the other side of that either.
Remember, there used to be multiple docks down there, and then we had flooding, and one of them was really flooded. I forget when that was, but
Steve Percival was talking about that. We need to meet with him anyway. And he said maybe, and I think he knows about the docks and he might know about those things
Yeah, but he moors is still
out there, yeah. He seems to know a lot about that dock in that area.
7 minutes till tea time.
We tabled the pontoon boat discussion for another time. Did we decide, are we, someone, like the Second Beach people, are you guys gonna go check those boats that are not in the proper place and see if, you can determine who, if they put their address on them?
well, again, if it gets windy I mean, they're close enough that it's not in the right.
I think Craig
You
was
know?
gonna say something. Craig, weren't you going to say something about the pontoon boats?
Well, I was going to say a couple of things. First was, I seem to remember several meetings, like last year, a year ago, we had a conversation about, Chris, that was, you were kind of spearheading that about safety and boat safety and all this. And I think we tabled that for some reason or other. But knowing that there are people who are docking boats in spaces that are not sanctioned pool of spaces. Well, there are no sanctioned pool of spaces that the public is aware of. There's no placard that says this is spot 1, spot 2, spot 3, spot 4, spot 5. So if we go and we figure out as a board, how many boats are we willing to allow in the lagoon, for example, where I dock my boat, and we say, these are the spots that you're allowed to put your boat, first come, first serve. And then they're full. We're going to have people who are going to then be looking for more spots to put their boats. Now that's the issue that a committee needs to be formed to kind of figure out how do we deal with that as an association so that it just doesn't become a free for all. I was just looking on Zillow. There's a house for sale on Wildwood, and they had a drone fly over. It's a recent picture because it's a current picture of the lagoon, and it does not have the one by the boat launch, but it has the one over by the kayak launch, and that's an enormous pontoon boat. I mean, that's huge, and I think I know whose it is, but I'll leave that for a later discussion.
Somebody's supposed to put their address on their.
Yeah, and right, but at the end of the day, that spot that boat is in would not have been a sanctioned pool of spot had we had placards, but we don't have placards, so it's still a free for all right now.
But Craig, we have those wooden posts in the ground for tying up your pontoon boats.
Yeah, but they're not in every spot. So if you go down to the lagoon, there are several who they've put their own metal posts in the ground to tie up to, because Pula doesn't have them for all the spots available.
So part of what we're charged with, Craig, is to maintain safety in the waterway.
Right.
And that boat is creating an unsafe.
I 100% agree. I'm not saying that it should be there.
We are sanctioned to say no.
We can say no.
You can't.
I understand that, but the reason it's there is because we didn't come out with a rule or a regulation that says these are the spots where you're allowed to go first come, first serve. Anywhere else is unsanctioned. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're looking at the safety issue, which I totally get. I agree with, but people don't know what.
Do you want to spearhead that?
Not really.
Well, listen, you are on it, and I think you got a good thing going on. I think you should spearhead that.
I don't know that I can spearhead that. I have very limited time to do more at the moment. But I'm happy to talk more about it and be involved in some way. I just don't have all the answers, and I don't know if we as a board are ever going to have all the right answers, because if we do it the right way, let's just say a third of the boats that are in are going to not be allowed to be put in, and then we're going to have like a mutiny on our hands.
Well, maybe we make a pontoon boat committee and let them decide.
We are not obligated to provide moorings for people's boats. If you don't buy a waterfront, you don't have a place to put your boat. We are not a marina.
I'm not
obligated to provide space for boats. And that's a misnomer when people are buying here and they're not on the lake and they think they live up here or the streets up there that they could have these space. No, we don't have enough property for everyone to have a boat.
But we are obligated to make sure that it's safe.
Right. And that's why I'm saying if we go and we say the lagoon can hold 8, whatever the number is, 10 boats, 8 boats, and these are the moorings, these are the only moorings you're allowed to moor on, then we've said it and we've done what we have to from a safety perspective, right? We've limited the amount of boats in the lagoon and we've come up with a process. Again, this is stuff that we had started. Chris, you started this conversation, I think, like probably a year ago.
Yeah.
And now it's getting, look, when I went down and looked at my boat, somebody had launched their boat and parked it literally right up against my boat. And then on the other side of their boat was another boat. They're all like literally touching each other when the whole freaking lagoon was empty. So how is that safe? You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to talk to the people who own the boat and let's see if we can spread out a little bit. But, we just don't have a process. And when I bought here 4 years ago, I was told it's first come, first serve. And, and if you want to, I was even told that you can go put your own mooring out in the middle of the lake somewhere.
what if in communities where there's limited resources where I've lived, they've done a lottery system. You know, where you wanna put your boat in the lagoon, you put your number in the hat, and if your number gets drawn, you're in, and if you don't, you don't.
Would you like to refresh us all as to why you dropped this?
Yes.
Yeah, I could talk to you about it, Craig, but you're absolutely right. I looked at what a normal safe distance, width and length. I looked at Defender Marine and for moorings, numbering schemes, nautical signs, so we could have nautical signs. And I did look into it, and there would be a lot less boats in that area. So, and the issues that we were having last year kind of worked themselves out, and it's a big job. We have to lay out all of our areas dimensionally, and lay them out. I talked to, what's her name? April, and she was gonna help me lay it out on CAD and
Right,
designs. and
right.
It's not a 10-minute thing. And then there's, like Dave says, there's a number of different ways. First come, first serve, lottery, you could get unlucky.
But after
You could get
the,
unlucky for 10 years in a row.
right.
Lottery is kind of, it is supposed to be random, but it's still a lottery.
Yeah.
Or luckier than others. So there's a number of ways that you could do it.
But
I think for right now, I think that
Just-
now I could meet with you and find out who it is, because I did see them this weekend when I was putting my pontoon boat in, and it's definitely not in a safe space. So I think we have to take, I was going to talk to Nancy on it today, but I think we could all agree it's not safe in where it's located right now, and it does impact people if they want to move their kayak in and out. So I think Nancy and I could find out
And
who
we
it is and
have-
talk to them.
We have a document of a letter we had to send last year for a pontoon boat that was parked in.
within 25 feet of a
Feet of a-
swimming.
So we have that one, and where we highlighted all the rules and regulations of why we can tell you it's. Yeah, we did. So
That would be good.
we can get that to you guys, because it references all the rules and regs by which we are allowed to say this is unsafe and.
But
So
I
what
agree
I
with
have to-
Craig with the longer, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I have to add is probably not within the conversation that we've already had. Because if we wanted to have a waterfront watercraft committee, not a pontoon boat committee, because if we're thinking in line of what this lake was and what we've been trying to keep it to be, I think the watercraft at the edge of Pula waterfront should be smaller paddle type, simpler watercraft, not these huge things, If you have waterfront property yourself where you want to put a big boat, that makes sense, but.
I also think, Nancy, to your point, like every year at the August meeting, we get people saying, we need more boat racks, or maybe people are putting 6 boats on the racks. Well, at some point, like, we're gonna burst at the seams. So I don't know, it's a tough, it's not like there's a
Like
ton,
rowboats, sailboats, things like
Rowboats,
that, yeah.
sailboats,
all of them.
simple, small boats. If you want to put a big boat in, use the launch.
Yeah.
That,
Or by waterfront.
yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna be a really slippery.
fine, but that's where I'm at.
Noted, understood.
What do we want to do with this?
Do we want to have a watercraft committee?
Is Jeff raising his hand?
How many more committees are we gonna have?
I don't know.
As many as we need.
Listen, the bottom line is the craze of the large pontoon boats with nowhere to park them or moor them will die on its own, because if there's no more spots left, where are they going to put them? They're going to make them like bunk beds. So
Buoy out.
it'll ultimately die out. It may take another year or two, but if you've got literally nowhere to put them, then they got to be really idiots to buy this stuff and they have nowhere to dock them. I mean,
Well, this one found a place to dock.
well, no, I'm saying we can at least enforce it, or where we say it's a violation of a swim area. I get that, but then you know, we can ward off that at that point. You're gonna run out of places.
We'll talk to them.
Right. Well, I also think,
The safety issue.
All right, so we're gonna table this to the next meeting in unfinished business because it's getting late and we do need to talk about one more
I
thing.
just have one more thing to say about it. And that is that these boats that are currently in unsafe positions might only be there temporarily while they're waiting for a dock to be put in somewhere else on a private property. So I want to make sure that we give the benefit of the doubt, because it's possible that this boat is going to get moved, you know, in 2 weeks when somebody puts their dock in.
They'll talk to
We'll talk to
whoever
them,
it is.
I just wanted that on the record. That's all.
So relative to the referendum.
Text me.
Are we done?
I got you.
So, I'm sorry, I'm maybe.
No, it's
Yeah.
we're trying to.
Because I have a suggestion, you know how we've been stuck on how much is this gonna cost versus like what the scope of work and all.
Right.
What if the referendum came out and said not to exceed?
Oh, yeah, well, that's a good thought too.
You know, pick a number, not to exceed $500. Okay?
Right.
Per
Price.
Per
It
property.
takes
Per
away,
property.
it takes away all of
The
the,
concern.
Right.
yeah.
That's a good thought.
It is a good thought.
I like the ideas too.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
He's not only one.
I do like that though. I think, you know, I think the verbiage that winds up going out in the referendum is definitely gonna have to be something that's subtle and.
Yeah.
I think people find comfort with that. not
Yeah,
to exceed.
It takes away
Takes away the
everything,
uncertainty,
yeah.
Yes.
Will it be based on the mill rate, the referendum?
Or flat
Flat
rate,
rate.
Flat rate.
Everyone
Per
pays the same.
property?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have a house and little pieces of property across the street, so
So are those lots attached to your,
I get a separate tax bill for them.
You could combine them if you wanted.
Yeah.
so if
I
you,
was told not to do that. I'm the attorney.
You can't bill it on.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm
why,
gonna say per property.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one.
No, there are a lot of
Right,
people.
right,
There are a lot of
we've
people.
actually looked into it.
Okay.
And so what we, right,
Oh, but it's 420. That's how we get our 420. It's the 420 that are taxpayers.
but
That's 420 houses.
No.
No, it's
no, well, so some people that have adjoining lots that are with their property, they get one bill.
Right.
But if you own just a lot,
you get a bill.
you get a bill.
I didn't think there was that many open lots. I thought that
There's
was-
not, there's like
Six.
six.
Mine just are not connected to my house property.
Right, so you
Street
should
across
get,
the street.
you should get one.
What if, I mean, what if we
Just
define
saying,
it by
I'm not the
per
only one.
property owner?
I don't know if you're right about that.
I don't know,
I
you
don't
gotta,
think you were right about that answer, but that's okay. I mean, I think it's gonna come up differently because her lots are not contiguous and they're not, she's got separate lots. She could sell those off to somebody else and they would have access to the lake
Yeah.
and come in there and have a boat and all that stuff. So she's like somebody who owns like 3 properties here.
Do you mind sharing why I mean, and if you do, it's fine. Why the attorney told you not to combine them?
For that very reason, so she can sell them off to somebody
Separately.
else.
No, it was more about estate planning. It had nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
I-
that's why I wasn't
It
trying to
was more
get,
about estate planning.
Yeah.
And
They're also.
Yeah,
we're not the only ones.
no,
No, there are a lot of
We
people.
cleaned,
There are a lot of
we-
people like
we
that.
did the plot map for where we could have access, and there are quite a few people that own property with
Yep.
a house, cottage on it, and then property across from them. So not the only one. So I'm gonna have to pay $1,200,
15.
15.
$1,500.
I see.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is
Costs a
insane.
lot to have it.
I don't mind.
How did you come to the decision to be flat rate versus the mill rate?
Because everyone benefits. We think we can sell it better that way. Everyone benefits the same from.
Except for people who have 3 properties.
Okay, so she's year round. You'll be if you go the other way, you'll end up paying even more because it's gonna be based on the mill rate. and you're gonna pay the lion's share of it because your house is worth a lot more than the cottage over here or someone's lot. So this was what is fair.
We thought it was
Everyone
fair.
has a skin in the game is the lake. The lake is important to all of our properties.
Right, but those waterfront little lots, they have really low taxes. That's what I'm saying. Is
But
so
her house,
that,
then her house.
They may have really low taxes, but they have the most to lose.
Well, can I ask-
True.
no, but as far as the mill rate
My
goes,
end
it's
of the
gonna be
way.
small.
Can I-
Just on those, but her house will be a lot more.
Okay.
Can I ask? So should we, no, but maybe this might help. Maybe we put it to the community, how the community wants to be taxed on this issue.
We don't want to be taxed.
No, I get that. But that's not an option.
It wouldn't be per lot. It would be, if there's 420 folks in the pool, it would be 420 people are going to pay a fee. Not that
Do we know
30
that?
people got 3 lots, so they get paid you have to get paid triple because you have 3 lots. You're just 1 out of 420.
One of them's like 0.1.
Pete Rutledge has 5.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're all contiguous. Like I had 5, mine are all together.
Yeah.
But,
So
there are people that own 3 houses here on different
well, yeah,
streets.
they would get
And
3.
Yeah.
It's
But
kind
that
of,
was,
But that would be per house.
these questions are gonna, I mean,
I
there's
know.
what, 9 of us, 10 of us here?
Yeah.
And these questions are coming up in the smaller community.
Sure.
So my thing is do we want to put this out to the community and the majority rules on how we approach this?
So I think,
Well, I don't think you'd have a
Watercraft.
simple answer. You'd probably have about 6 different things to choose from.
right,
People like Evelyn and anyone who lives on Lake Shore that has a house and no one's a
pay
little
less
piece of
the flat
property.
rate than if you. do
That's
the
one
rate on
option,
the
but
value of your house.
that's one, there's gonna be a lot of options that we're gonna come up with.
all right, so listen, watercraft, we're gonna call it watercraft and referendum.
Because the only thing I know on the referendum is the funding needs to be in line with the construction, because nobody's, if you go to buy a house, you're not gonna buy a house unless you can prove how you're gonna pay for it, okay? And the same damn thing's gonna happen with the dam.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. All right, so watercraft and referendum, we'll do in next month's meeting. We'll put that in unfinished business because we do have one more thing to talk about. And this is the playground.
We'll go. Instead of
That sounds good. Yeah. I'm like Lisa, I wake up at 4 and I'm up the door, so.
Yeah, all right, so the playground, thank you, Chris. So
Can I get out?
originally the
I don't
board,
think I can get out.
oh,
Hurry up.
all right, this is gonna be quick, because I want to be done too, Chris. So originally, the board, and this might be something we might have to emailing afterwards. So everybody think about it, okay? Originally, the board said to the playground committee, we agreed that their objective was to find 3 different playscapes and 3 different prices, and we were gonna present to the community. Well, they don't really want to do that now. And
It's a question.
it's a question, all right? So I guess, Julia, you can give the spiel because she talked to you.
So they're concerned about is, again, chicken and egg. How much is this playground going to cost? We don't know. Say, and say they come up with one that's 35,000 or 40,000, whatever, 3 different ABC. But they could go on sale. This particular style could go on sale. And yeah, and so if they vote on design A, and okay, so now they only can do design A, but design A never goes on sale, but design C went on sale and is actually going to be less than design A.
Budget.
They want to
So-
know if they can be, like, they can talk like what Chris did for the courts. You could do all of their research, all these different things, options, companies, size, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But go for a dollar amount rather than a design, because it does not allow them flexibility that they could work within the dollar amount that we come up with, that the community votes for. Then they're not pegged, because something could go on sale and they could actually get maybe this higher, like C could be higher, but when it goes on
I
sale.
don't think
I
anybody, I don't
thought
think
they were
anybody.
gonna just choose something and we were gonna vote on it.
No, they were gonna go to the community
Yeah,
with
they
three
get- they get-
designs.
they
and
get
three
lost,
choices.
they get lost.
Yes, I think three is too much for the community anyway.
Why don't we just let them pick the design that they feel is best? Like, why do we have to put that up to the community? And then they pick the design and then we give them a budget.
So listen, under normal circumstances, I'd agree, but all the chitter chatter that I heard about who wants monkey bars, who wants this, who wants that, it was like,
Yeah.
even amongst the committee, the few meetings I went to in the beginning, everybody wanted different things, everybody. So that's why we said, present it to the community, let the majority take it. But, so they want to do not exceed. I'm okay with that. If that's what they want to do and the community agrees to it.
That gives them flexibility to.
I think the committee should be able to also vote on the design. I don't think it should go out to 400
Right.
people.
That would
No,
be-
I-
that
No
would-
way. Heck
No.
no.
The
Yeah.
committee,
Yeah, so
the committee's empowered to pick the design and as long as it's within the budget that the community agrees upon, done.
Yeah, and if they want to deal with all the chatter and the back and forth of who wants monkey bars, let them fight that out. That's
Well, that's why we had a committee and it wasn't the
Right.
board doing this, because
Right.
they're the ones that are.
Dave, was that a motion?
I'll motion it.
Second,
I second that Dave's motion that it should be up to the committee to decide on
the
the
design.
design.
The next,
and we just
but you know what the
decide
next
on what
logical
the budget
question
is.
is what's the budget?
That's
Well,
what they need
not
to
to
present.
exceed.
That's what they need to present to the membership, not us.
Right.
So,
Like you did for
Yeah.
boards.
so what's the motion again?
I motioned that the committee come up with a budget and that gets presented to the community and that the design belongs to the committee.
Okay,
I
any
second
further
Dave's
discussion?
Motion.
Oh, sorry. Second, I got a second. Third. Discussion, third. Okay, all in favor? Sophie? Okay,
Excellent.
motion
That was
passes.
easy.
That was easy.
Okay, I'd like to
Thank
make a
God.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Excellent.
nice to see everybody.
Bye.
Bye, nice
Bye,
to
Greg.
see you.
Just as an example,
One of my lots,
taxes is
Lori, Lori, did you give me 288. this
The
The other
other
one's
one's scope of
taxes
work
are
for what
almost
you're looking
300.
for.
Can we hang up on this?
No. The second-
You have to stop recording first.
Did in the past.
Wait, Chris,
I know you know,
Sorry.
I know this is your wheelhouse stuff.
Chris,
But,
Okay, okay.
can you stop recording first?
yeah, I was gonna try to do that.
Okay.
Lori's gonna do it.
You pay a lot,
Marilyn.
little lots.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.